Greg Carson, former player of the Nighthawks and alumni from 1993 to 1997. Also proud member of the first Cyclone Taylor Championship team in Beaver Valley. You're listening to Hawk Talk with hosts and alumni Ross Simner, Jake Morissette, and Connor Jones. Enjoy the show, folks.
All right, welcome in. We got episode 11 of Hawk Talk. It's just a solo session right now with me. We're hoping Simmy joins me later. We got Jake with the flu, but we got an extra special guest, Fruitvale's own Arie Postmus, basically a 4-year Nighthawk. Welcome to the show, Arie.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Pumped to be here.
Awesome. We can just get right into it. Growing up in Fruitvale and how that kind of carved your path to where you are now.
Yeah. So, I mean, as every Fruitvale kid's dream when they're growing up, they want to play for the Nighthawks. And, I went through the minor hockey system and, had Terry as a coach as I was a younger kid and stuff like that. And then, I just remember my early days watching Nighthawks, like, Kevin Hatchie in net and, Daryl Hurd up front, Andy Gagnon, Garrett Mason, those guys. And then, in Pee Wee making the rep team, Jarrett Mason and Andy Gagnon were my coaches.
No way.
They finished playing, and then actually that's how they gave me my nickname. That's been my name for years. Like all my buddies call me Speedwagon or Wagon and stuff. Because they made me when I made the team, I never had an email, and they're like, "Oh, make your email REO Speedwagon." So, and that stuck with me for forever. Like I had to make a Gmail when I went to college here because my coach is like, you got to get a Gmail account going, buddy. So, yeah, I mean, grew up around the rink, watching Nighthawk games all the time. And, you have the staff that you always see. I had Pat Valier as a coach in Pee Wee when he used to make us run up the arena hill in our gear after we would lose 15 in the Castlegar back in the day. But, yeah, and then making the Nighthawks was awesome. Like, I had a chance at 17, kind of went through camp up and down. And then Terry acquired Josh McKinney out of Revelstoke, came in last game against Grand Forks, played well. And then I kind of got released after that one. But
did you go into that year of being like, hey, this is my year to make this team, or is it like a still kind of like, because I remember it was a little later bloomer, like of kind of similar like Archie of like, hey, it wasn't like, hey, I'm 16 gonna make this team. Was that something that was always like, hey, I'm here this year, or hey, I got a real good shot if I play well?
Yeah, I mean, actually, let's just roll it back to 16-year-old year when I was trying out. So I don't know if Terry ever told you, but I tried out for a forward at 16. And that wasn't my decision. Old Benny Postmus stepped in and was like, you're trying to us forward. I was like, I'm a defenseman, Dad. Like, never played forward ever. Like, and then I just remember like Terry was like, you got to try out for D. And I'm like, I want to. It's just like Benny stepped in and it was like, you're trying out for forward.
Was that because there was a bunch of D on the roster then? Like, who were the D on that team?
I can't remember.
Okay.
So that's just kind of how that happened. And I played some exhibition and then went back to play midget rep in Beaver Valley and stuff like that. And then at 17, I honestly thought I could make the team.
Yeah.
And I mean, I went all the way through camp and exhibition. And then I just remember that Grand Forks game as the game for me. You're kind of, when you're playing and then, they bring in this other guy. He fights in the game. He's older. Yeah. It's kind of like, well, crap, like this doesn't look too good, but you can control, right? So it's like, can't worry about what other guys are doing. But yeah. So then when we got back to BV, it's like you get released and then you kind of hit the, what do I do now moment, right? And, I was calling Grand Forks, Castlegar, Nelson, just to see if there was a spot anywhere really. Obviously, but I wanted to play for BV. It's just like you kind of get scramble mode of where you want to play. Yeah. And then I kind of shift focus to try to play on the midget team and trail, right? Just go play AA. And I can't remember what the reason, but I don't think they wanted to take anybody from Fruitvale. So that kind of happened. And then Brent Petrick was the major midget coach. So I gave him a call just to see. And because I just, that comes with the cost, right? Because it's expensive to play
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And then I went out for a practice, played a game, and then ended up making the team there. So kind of like what McKinney comes in from there to BV. It's like what I did to go play major midget, right? And I just needed a place to play, really. Like I didn't really want to play midget rep in Fruitvale because the team wasn't very good,
Yeah.
right? And it's single A, nothing against single A or whatever, but just that you're at 17, you kind of want to go play the highest level you can, right, to kind of keep your development going. So that's what happened. I played major midget that year, and then I got in some games with BV in and out, and I played pretty well as an AP. And then playoffs rolled around, and I got to play some playoff games, and I really wanted to play Game 7 against Nelson in the first round, but we played. I can't remember we played a game earlier that day. I don't know where the confusion came, but I think my coach said no.
Yeah.
Because I played games 2, 4, and 6,
Yeah.
and I was hoping to play Game 7, and I don't know what had happened. So I ended up watching the game. I stayed after our game. We played earlier that day, I think it was,
Okay.
and I was willing to double up, whatever. Like let's go here. And they had a bunch of
when you're that age, you're like, I can go forever.
yeah, and I know like BB had some injuries that year, and they had Barks on one leg in that playoff run as a goalie. And watching him was like wow, and I just was in the stands watching with Tolarski. So, and then obviously you make it at 18, and yeah.
I mean, just that 18-year-old year, that's the year you guys win the league, right?
No, we won at 19.
19.
So that 18 year was we were okay. Castlegar was an absolute juggernaut that year. Like they
Who was
had,
on Castlegar then?
I want to say his name was, I think it was Ryan Ainsley was his name. He was up and down with Trail.
Yeah, I remember that.
That guy was,
He was a good player.
he
He
was
was a
unbelievable.
junior A player playing junior B. Like he was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he went to Trail and then left and came back, and they were so good.
Just going back, the stories about your dad. I know, like my dad and your dad have always, had BV hockey in their hearts, but sometimes have always clashed a little bit.
Yeah.
What are some stories you remember of him? Because obviously your brother played for the Nighthawks. We've been around each other for a long time.
Yeah, like you and Kel would have been with my brother quite a bit, and I just remember one time, man, I'm sitting in the basement, and I think this was when Adam was on the Nighthawks, and my dad was fuming about something about, I think, with Adam not playing, or whatever, and I'm sitting there watching TV, and he calls your dad on the phone, and he just starts ripping him, like just screaming and swearing, like "f you," blah blah blah, and he hangs up the phone, and like let's like one of those ones like who wants to get the last word, like hang up the phone, right? And then like 5 minutes later, your dad calls back and does it right back to him. Oh, I was just like I was dying laughing, like kind of like awkward laughing because he's just like,
Yeah.
oh my, where's this going kind of deal, but I know my mom was like kind of like friggin' rights Terry, like give it back to him kind of deal. Just gets like the last minute, like hang up the phone, like see you later, Benny. But so
yeah,
they're both passionate people. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They're just ultra competitive, and that happens with anybody. I know we've all done things. I know I've said some things where I'm just like, oh God, can you just get in sometimes?
Yeah.
But my favorite Ben story is I think your dad was coaching, or back in minor hockey, you had like 3 teams on the ice or 2 teams on the ice. So here's your dad and Eric Dallana, who are both pretty big sized men. And they start to do this drill, and it's basically long short where you got to cut through the middle, and someone's got to go left, someone's got to go right. So here we are, we're all watching practice, and your dad and Mr. D are going just full speed, just trying to set an example. And there was no discussion of who's going left or right. Just boom, right in the middle. I have never seen it hit like that. They both fall down like potato sacks. It was unbelievable. We all started like laughing. I'm pretty sure your dad might have busted his nose, but thank God he's a doctor, so he's helping out.
Right, you just go fix him up, maybe right, some pain meds or something.
It was all time. Oh my God, he's fucking good man, funny. Oh,
I remember listening to them after talking about that when I was there.
Yeah, I'm sure he came home and was like, I think I got a concussion.
Yeah, those guys.
But yeah, so after that year you win. I mean, what was that like? Was that just were you? I know talking with Archie and Dal, like you guys had an awesome team. Like go through that again, just to kind of give us a little rundown.
Yeah, that team was something like for us to have to let go like Jake Lucchini because he was the third 16-year-old was just like it was wild. And then Scotty wrecks his knee at the start of the year. He misses the whole year pretty much till playoffs. So we were kind of thinking like maybe you can bring up Luch and just put Scotty on the IR or whatever. I don't know how it works for that, but back then, but yeah, that team was things came together. Like we were like our top three lines all had over a point per game. Our fourth line was pretty like really good too. Like Skidsy came back and played it after Christmas, and you got Shaps running around there, and
you had such a team of. It was, I mean, like any winning team, really, it's a complete kind of. You have your top lines, and then you got your energy line, like, and you got your shutdown, power play D, and that sort of stuff. But I want to just talk about. I know bringing it up with Dal, like talk about his performance in the playoffs. I remember watching on TV like from out east of just him playing and literally single handedly almost like winning games. Like
he was a juggernaut. Like, he was a juggernaut. Like and it was cool. Like he played with Tyler Collins and Max Flanagan. That was their line. That was our so-called second line, as you could say. Probably any team's first and around the league, but he just he took it to another level that whole entire year. Like he was a beast, and that I've never seen somebody with better hand-eye coordination. Like just anything, and his shot, and
I mean,
they just. Oh. I think what helped him was playing with Tyler because Tyler would run around and just wreck guys. So I think it gave him a comfort level that he can kind of do whatever he wanted to do, and he kind of knew that he's got a guy that, and Flanny could put the puck in the net too. Like he was a good player, but Dal he did that playoff run. Like he carried us through some games that we probably didn't deserve to win.
Yeah, it's funny. You always need like a good goalie, a great defensive core, and then just those superstars who can kind of at any time win your games, right? But
yeah, like our goalies that year, like they split all year. They split in the playoffs. I know you've kind of talked about that story before, but like Mike and Zach went 1-for-1 in playoffs, and we were in Fernie. I know Mike told us, like Morissette told it, like we were going to go back with Perry for that next game, and Perry went in and was like, no, it's Mike's turn, and Mike ended up stealing the show the next day, and Fernie, like they thought they scored one, but the puck went on the outside of the post underneath the net. That place went you played in Fernie. That place can get rocking. Like it's a
great place to play playoff. I mean, anywhere, but playoffs especially. It's a fucking zoo.
Yeah, that cyclone still has a sour taste in my mouth because we didn't play very well. And actually, I'll do a little backstory here. So 2 years later, when I went to Selkirk, I played with 3 or 4 guys on that Selkirk team that played in that cyclone that year on those different teams. And they all said that they kind of learned a new system going into that tournament against us, more shutdown. All 4 teams were like offensively gifted. Like, so to kind of hear that, you're kind of like, but you're still kind of pissed because you lost, right? So
never get over losses in big games, no matter how well the other team plays. But so you got your time as a Nighthawk, like just as we kind of leave that part, like what's one of the biggest things you learned from, throughout your time in Beaver Valley? Like, is it that you kind of bring to what you're doing now or what you do with coaching?
Yeah. So like when I look back at it now, it's, obviously they want to develop good players, but there's a big emphasis on, developing good people and the community stuff and everything. Like I took a lot of pride in that stuff, just being a hometown guy. Cause you wear that jersey with pride and everybody knows you cause you grew up in the area and stuff like that. So, I mean, you want to put on a good face in the community, but it also has to be genuine too, right? So that's why I try to take a lot of that with me as I've moved forward, is just being a good person and, having a high work ethic in everything you do.
Yeah.
Always looking to give back because, when I was there, I wanted to do as much as I could
Yeah.
around the area. Whether it's the bingo nights or whatever, like we did a bunch of stuff, and I honestly, it was so much fun when I was there,
Yeah.
and
I feel like
take,
back then, sorry to cut you off, but just like when you're like, that's all I ever wanted to do was be a Nighthawk. And same with you. Like I wanted to do everything that I could to make myself, represent the team and all that sort of stuff. And because I was like, what a privilege, man. I get to wear number 10 on the Nighthawks. Like, and I think, like you said, taking that as you move forward is such a great example. It's for the next crew of people coming in.
yeah, no, it was awesome, and you grow up and you watch all these different eras of players coming in. Like I mentioned those first four guys earlier, but then when I get a little older, you start watching the Brody Raptuses coming in with the giant mohawks and Josiah Anderson running around. Like I watched that guy one punch a player behind the net one time and just like literally carry him to the ice, and I'm just like,
I was at that game, one punch, and then once hit him twice, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna settle you down.
yeah, night, like, and I don't know, those just those memories that stick with you, and it's just like I want to be a Nighthawk, and that's all.
Right? You look up to all those players, and that's one of the coolest things of like, I mean, you're at the alumni tournament of like getting to see those guys, getting to meet those guys.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, and the connections you have of being a Nighthawk is the reason why we do all this stuff. And
Right, and I ran into Bear Jackman a few years ago, and it's just like those little things, right? You run into people throughout, and every time for work I go by Swift, I go for a beer with Mike, like Vlanich, and catch up and stuff like that. So
but yeah, so as you leave Nighthawks, you go to Selkirk. You obviously have great success there, and then you head off to Red Deer. Give me kind of the breakdown of going to Red Deer and then kind of everything that kind of led you into what you're doing for the Rebels right now.
yeah, so I did 3 years at Selkirk, and I wanted to move on to finish my degree somewhere, and I was kind of looking out in Alberta to play on a college team. And I literally just emailed all the ACAC coaches. I emailed some CIS teams just to see if there was a spot, just to try out. Like I'm willing to do that. I cut my own highlight video.
That's fucking unreal.
Right, I got Kim Barrick and gave me like the password and stuff to our team one, because they put the videos online, right? I was literally just like pulling clips into the thing, recording spots, like because I mean, you remember plays, right? You remember the good plays. Sometimes you don't want to remember the bad ones, right? So, like, I think I had one hit ever in college and junior combined, and I threw that one on there. It's just like, hey, let's do it, right?
Get back. The highlight is just you having a really good stick and making good first passes.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of good first passes. Yeah. So I did that, and then I sent it off. And after I started talking with the Red Deer College coach, he's like, "Oh, do you have some?" Because he didn't know who I was, right? So yeah, they committed to me, and I came up here, did 2 years because I lost a year of schooling with the transfer, which I didn't know until after I moved up. I was kind of told I was able to go right into the third year of the degree, right? Because I only had 2 years left to play, because you get 5 years in Canadian college.
Yeah.
So I did the two. I played the 2 years and did the two. So I had 1 year left of school. I was working for the town of Blackfalds as a summer student, because my goal after college was I was going to go play a year in Lacombe for the senior AAA team. They were hosting the Allen Cup that year. So kind of talked to their coach. I was good to go to play on that team. And then Keeper, like my old college coach, called me and was like, "Hey, the Red Deer Rebels have created this new position. They're looking for somebody that's fresh out of hockey, kind of your age range." They're like, "Yeah, we referenced you, and here's the media guys' contact info. Give them a call and see where it goes." So I was like, "Oh, just try it out. You never know, right? Worst they're going to say is no, like whatever." So give them a call. I think that was on like a Tuesday or Wednesday. Sent Cam, the radio guy, my resume, and then that Saturday, Brent Sutter gave me a phone call and was like, "Hey, can you come in for an interview in an hour and a half or so?" So it's kind of like a holy crap moment. Like, all right, shower up,
I was just
get
he's not just like he's a pretty big part of
yeah,
hockey,
and
junior hockey.
oh, it's crazy, and the phone number comes up and doesn't have a name, so it's like I was hesitant to answer it because all these scam callers these days. It's like I'll just let this one go to voicemail. I answered it, and he's like, "Hey," so went in there like an hour and a half later, and we sat in the conference room. I mean, you've seen our offices. We sat in the conference room for about 2 hours, and he literally just had me telling my story, like where I grew up and blah blah blah, what I want to do, and that was on a Saturday, and then I came back on the Monday to talk with Sean, who's his nephew, who's the assistant GM, and Merrick, who's his son, who's the VP of the team, kind of just so they can get a feel on me and stuff like that. And I was in the car afterwards, kind of just texting my mom after, and he gave me a call. He's like, "Hey, are you still in the parking lot?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm still here." He goes, "Oh, come back in." And I thought he was just gonna be like, we're gonna go a different route or whatever. And they offered me the job on the spot, so
Unreal.
kind of had to give it a couple days because I had to quit my summer job. I wasn't even 2 months into my summer job. It's like, okay, so how do I approach them now, right? And since I go to the work the next day, I'm like, "Hey, do you mind if I, 2 weeks left and head out?" And because this was the middle of June and he wanted me to start July 1st, right? So it's just like, frick, like I'm sure I could do it. And then I dropped the ball on him that I still had a year left of school. And he's like, "Well, how are you going to manage that?" And I told him that I would space it over another semester, and he was good with that. So
That's awesome.
how I landed that gig. So
What's it been like? Like obviously, like I was saying, I mean, Brent's a pretty big time, part of definitely the Western League and Canadian hockey. Like, have you learned lots from him? Was it a little bit like intense at the start? Like, what are things he's passed on to you?
yeah, just the first year was intense because you get a lot. You got to do a lot, right? Like my role, I've got a lot on my plate, but if you're organized and scheduled, it runs pretty smooth. It was good though. Like we had a pretty, like, we were good the first half. I think our team kind of overachieved a bit the first half, and it came back in reality the second half. So that kind of made things a little smoother for the first part of the season. Kind of just, and it's nice to start the summer when it's a little quieter, right? But I mean, I just try to be a sponge, soak up as much as I can, just with learning and his tendencies and habits. Like he's professional all the time. Obviously, he's got like that face on him that he's all serious and stuff. But once you get to know the guy and him and Connie, like his wife, they're awesome people. Like they'll do anything for anybody. And just the one thing I've kind of picked up on that I try to do is just be honest right from the get-go with everybody. Just you say it as it is. If they like it, great. If they don't, well, it's the truth, right? And never kind of falter from that, and don't let your guard down, and the work ethic too. You just have to, especially with this era of players, like you just have to go all the time, and accountability is huge.
Yep.
Right. But you got to be willing to hold yourself accountable and take criticism if you're going to criticize other people.
Yeah.
Right. That's just, and like I said, you just say it as it is, and if people like it, great. If they don't, then whatever. Like,
totally agree. But yeah, so as we get to the end here, what are some memories and things you've remembered about your time with the Nighthawks?
How they do things with Breakfast Club in the morning, right? It's and we had a group of us that once or twice a year we used to bring one of those campfire griddles, right? And we would go up in the viewing room with like senior, and there would be, I don't know, like 8 to 12 of us, and we would cook breakfast like once or twice a year. Like everybody would bring something, like hash browns, somebody would bring eggs.
That's unreal.
That used to be our thing. That was when I was 18 and 19 we did that.
Yeah.
So like that was when like Ryan Sucro was there, Justin Nimanikin, Josh McKinney,
So Grizzle.
Al was there after he was done high school, like Deroche, Ed, Mike, those kind of guys. And we used to actually, well, just so my first year, I was really close with like Justin Niminikin because he lived with Tom.
Yeah.
That was the year they had to let go of Tom because Per Hudoff came into the picture, right? But they lived right beside, like, you know where our houses are. Like I got another good story with those two. But we used to buy those, like those plastic golf clubs you can buy for kids and like the fake ball.
Yeah.
So after breakfast club, when we wanted to kill some time, we would used to play 18 holes around the rink, and we would just make up random holes and just, I mean, the rink guy, Randy was his name, right?
Oh yeah, Randy's the best.
He'd be like, you guys are idiots, like, or like, we're going. But I used to have to go pick up, like Nim and I would share picking each other up to go to the rink, even though we live so close. Could probably walk there really, but we're lazy. But they used to do like the weirdest stuff when I'd pick them up. Like I would show up there, and Tom would be in the back of someone's car. They'd try to scare me all the time. So Tom would be in the trunk of the car and just like, and then there was another time he was on the roof in the middle of the winter, like in a lawn chair, sipping a friggin' whatever, pineapple drink or apple juice. He'd be on the middle of the road on a chair. Like they used to just do the craziest stuff. It was so funny, but yeah, we definitely had some good.
Such a great part of the team, and I remember it was just kind of starting off when I was playing, and I was jealous because I had to go to school. I was like, God, I want to come. I want to go get extra time on the ice and hang out with these guys, and and I never skipped class to go there, but I wanted to. Yeah, well, hey, dude, this has been awesome. This has been great. I mean, it's perfect time for me to catch up with my buddy.
Yeah, no kidding. You have to give
Work.
You have to make Simmy buy you dinner next time you see him for skipping out.
You off with Jake and Simmy. Simmy texted me, hasn't texted me back yet, so he's fucking. I might add that. He's fucking fired.
This is a reality check for those two. It's
exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Taking time, and good luck with the season, and enjoy football. Go Seahawks.
Yeah. Thanks.
See you, buddy.
Hi, listeners. This is former Nighthawks player and captain Morgan Peace from the 2017 to 2020 seasons. I hope you're enjoying the show. Make sure to follow us on social media at BV Nighthawks Alums and to visit our website at bvnighthawksalum.ca.